Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stand Up for All Kids. And May is asthma awareness. So I'm going to share some information about lifestyle, diet, things of that nature that you can do to help with asthma. And I'm going to have a special guest, Sabrina Fry, share her story with her son, Mason. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. I've got a PowerPoint that I set up. And we're going to walk through this PowerPoint. Get it to go. Okay. So Stand Up for All Kids, my co's. Some of you might have seen some of my other episodes. I'm a lean health coach, and we're going to be talking, like I said, about asthma. As you can see, 1 in 9 kids have asthma, and it's, unfortunate that all these kids are dealing with different things. And getting to the root cause, I think, is so important. So let me go ahead and see if I can get Sabrina on. She's going to share a little bit about her son Mason's story. Hey, Sabrina, let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, super. Hey, so I just started the Zoom and I kind of came up on the picture here that you had shared on social media. And I just, wanted to kind of introduce you about, we met back in 2016. It was like a health fair at the church, and you happened to see, I had a trifold up on the table, just talking about asthma, allergies, and maybe share a little bit about, what Mason was going through and dealing with.
Sure. So at this time, so he would have been right toward the end of first grade. And we had spent many years fighting his asthma. So it came on around 20 months old. And he just, with every change in season, we moved a few times because of my husband's job. So every time we moved and just like the new surroundings, he would end up having asthma attacks like crazy. You can see in this picture, he was hospitalized at one point for it. That was after like a hay ride in October. You go on those hay rides, and there were mold spores in the hay, and we didn't even realize that was a thing or that he would react to it. And so he ended up hospitalized for that one, having a pretty severe attack there. But I would be mowing the lawn. I would open the windows, and this poor kid just couldn't breathe. So he was on multiple medicines. We had steroids, like refills on hand. So if we traveled, I could easily call Walmart and have the bring to that local Walmart wherever we were traveling, in whatever city we were in, and be able to have like an emergency steroid for him. And an inhaler. We carried an inhaler, and then a nebulizer, a breathing machine. Everywhere we went, he had to have his breathing machine with him just in case. So it was a pretty rough, 5 years, I guess, 5.5 years of trying to figure out what to do. We ripped carpet out of our home. We bought a really expensive air purifier for his bedroom so that he would be breathing the best air that he could be while he was sleeping. He would go to the chiropractor for weekly adjustments. Like, we were really trying everything that we thought was external about him. And little did we know that it was actually more internal he was fighting. So.
Yeah, and I was going to share a little bit about some stuff that I kind of shared and recommended, and some testing that I done, but just really all I did was share, maybe some options to try cutting out the dairy, and switching over to like almond milk, and, seeing if you noticed anything with that.
Yeah, and so based on your recommendation, when I met you at that health fair, a light bulb kind of went off, because I have a reaction to dairy. My skin will actually break out and rash if I have too much dairy. And then my husband has a reaction. His throat will actually start to feel like it's like really phlegmy and kind of like he can't swallow well. So when you had mentioned cutting out dairy, that light bulb went off of like, oh my gosh, of course that makes sense. And why wouldn't his reaction just maybe look different? And then when it all started, when he was around 20 months old, it was when we had started introducing yogurt and cheese cubes to his diet. So it kind of makes sense that that's how it evolved.
Yeah, and that's probably the most common thing that I find with the kids that do the testing, or even adults that are dealing with any kind of, respiratory mucus, asthma things. It's normally dairy is one of the culprits. So, and I share my story, with my testing because, I used to have a lot of respiratory issues myself growing up. I don't know that I was ever diagnosed asthma, but always in oxygen tents and struggling to breathe and sick all the time. And like, when you would travel, same thing with me, I'm sure I would go almost anywhere and have some kind of reaction and get this respiratory infection. So this is a test that a lot of the kids do get. But for Mason, I just shared what the other ones were dealing with, and you tried some things, and he's been doing so much better. The other thing that, I kind of made up a smoothie there and shared some gluten-free, dairy-free options. And then I shared the Juice Plus product that I had been on for over a year, I think at that time, or close to a year. And then you guys went ahead and decided to try some of the products in 2016 too, right?
Yeah, so you had some samples with you, and then you had some samples out on the table. And our youngest son was with me, and he is a much more particular eater. So when he ate the gummies and liked them, I knew that it would not be a problem at all. So I remember just having to go home and talk to my husband about it. And, we were desperately trying to figure out anything for Mason at that point anyway. So my husband was like, absolutely, let's try it. So we did. And how long has that been? 5 years? It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
He still takes it every day. In fact, he takes the red and green gummies, but he actually takes the capsules, the purple capsules. He takes 2 of those a day now. So just anything we can do to continue to be putting extra nutrients into his body.
Yeah, I mean, it helps for more. I mean, there's research showing the inflammation, decreased inflammation, which with Juice Plus, lots of clinical research done on it. I think over 40 now that's been performed. And I don't think anything specific to asthma, but I have found in the 6 years now that I've been taking Juice Plus that almost everybody I recommend it to, if they just try to reduce the dairy or get off the dairy and do the Juice Plus, it just works. So
yeah, when we started the process, he was constantly sick at least 3 to 4 times a year, pretty badly, like rushing to the emergency room. He would have to have multiple breathing treatments, steroids. And in 5 years since we have cut dairy and started Juice Plus, we only have been to the hospital 1 time, and that was just kind of a tornado of, it was a change in season. He actually went out to my husband's shop, and there was a ton of like dust in the air from my husband doing woodworking. And then we had a fire going in our fire pit, so the smoke. So kind of this whirlwind of things that just kind of got him all at once. And at that time, we did not have any more steroids on hand because he had been doing so well for so long. So that kind of was like, oh, crap. We had to get him to the hospital. He just had to do a couple of rounds of breathing treatment, and they gave him a steroid on site. But so to know like 4 times a year we were having this issue, and now we've had 1 issue in 5 years has been amazing. And he can feel it. He knows he'll still have dairy now and then. He's hanging with his buddies and there's pizza and there's not an alternative. He's going to have a piece of pizza, but for the most part, he does very well, and he can feel it in his chest when he's had too much dairy. So yeah, it's been a good progression.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'll have a slice of pizza once in a while, but it's like moderation. I mean, if you don't eat it every day and you only have it occasionally, it definitely makes a difference. So I put up some pictures of him because, just seeing those pictures of him always being sick. And then I got to go watch one of his football games at Highland and just love seeing kids out there feeling better and being able to play sports and do the stuff that they want to do, and in wrestling, maybe share a little bit about the differences, I guess, you've seen in his athletic performance.
Yeah, sure. He has for sure come a long way. So we went from like having the breathing machine with us in our car in case when he was younger playing a sport, just in case he had an issue. We don't even think about it, but he's one of the fastest kids on his team. He is one of the strongest kids on his team. He's just excelling. This picture you see was actually 2 years ago. That's his first year he wrestled, and he qualified to go to state, which was a huge accomplishment. And then this past year, his second year wrestling, he qualified again to go to NC State and ended up placing 7th in the state. So it's just beautiful to see that he is not being hindered at all by his asthma. And he's just breathing well, and he can perform athletically because of it. So he can run, he does his sprint drills, he can run long distance, and he's good. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, awesome. And, being just the first couple years in wrestling, that's a tough sport. I mean, you go, they say one of the toughest sports out there. So, definitely not having to worry about that respiratory stuff as much is definitely going to help. So thanks for getting on and sharing the journey. I really appreciate it. And hopefully this will reach out and help, a lot of other kids or even adults that deal with asthma. And I'm going to share some other more technical type stuff going on, but I appreciate you hopping on, and have a good night.
Sure. Thanks, Mike. Thank you for everything. And I hope you have a good night too.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sabrina. All right. So then I don't know if you've seen episode 2. You can go and find these on www.watchwctv.com. We did an episode with Cecilia. So Cecilia was dealing with really bad, severe asthma, trying to play sports. Doctors, had her on a lot of prescriptions trying to cut down on her inflammation. And we did the testing with Cecilia in 2019. And her mom shares on episode 2. So if you just go to www.watchwctv.com and then search episodes for Stand Up for All Kids, and you can go to find this one with Cecilia and listen about her journey and what she has noticed and experienced. So just wanted to share it. So one of my local places I'll do checkups on with the kids, I like to take them somewhere where they can have a treat and it's not going to affect them. So Roebuck's just opened up, and they have dairy-free options, because if you look, it's probably going to be hard to see, but if you go in and see the actual episode with Cecilia, you'll see she was dairy across the board. And we never had to do testing with Mason, but he just cut out the dairy. I have a Shred 10 program. It's a lifestyle where we have a community of people that share dairy-free options. I'll share some here shortly. And then, just to help and support the kids. But you can see we're at Roebuck's, we're getting our smoothies. We got the dairy-free options. Her sister, Athena, doesn't have to worry about, too much with dairy, but, I still am an advocate of not consuming too much type animal products. Might try to eat more fruits, vegetables. Looking at their, you can see, so like, let's say I test somebody and they show whey protein sensitivities, at least they have soy, they've got the pea proteins. So they've got the alternatives that I can turn to. So if somebody's dealing with something and they need to go dairy free, they can, choose different smoothies with different protein additives, and really just, it's a great place to take a kid, have a treat, and they get a lot of nutrient packed nutrition blended up in that smoothie. We've been having some fun and just out there. Friends have been sharing different options, and we go and taste sample. And I have Cecilia kind of as one of my taste testers, and she said, find me a chocolate dairy-free ice cream that I like. So far, this is 2 of our favorites. The Not a Moo chocolate which is coconut milk, and then Mitchell's, which is local to us here in Ohio. They have a chocolate. They have lots of different vegan ones. This is like a salted caramel pecan, and you mix the two together, and it's really good. So it's different. You got to get used to the different taste, I guess, from the dairy. But the other testing that we do is hair mineral analysis testing. And one of the things that I would look for that could cause, more mucus in the lungs and the breathing would be heavy metals. And a lot of people are like, well, where would we find heavy metals? Well, they spray the food with the genetically modified food. They spray it with pesticides, herbicides, and there's a concentration of arsenic. And you can look up Mott's apple juice. Just look up Mott's apple juice and arsenic, and you'll find it has some in there. So depending upon your diet and how much you're actually consuming and how fast your body is able to detox it. So looking at magnesium too. So maybe magnesium deficiency could also be a possible indicator linking to asthma. So just another test, another thing to look at. Heavy metals, pesticides. So I'm an advocate for looking for foods that are non-GMO, that aren't sprayed. To me, it makes sense. So anytime you can find foods that are organic, you'll have less chemicals sprayed on them. The picture kind of shows it all. The guy's got to wear a respirator and a rain suit, but he's spraying it on food that we're supposed to eat. It just doesn't make sense to me. Looking at some other foods that, Fruit Loops, you can look at different cereals. They put artificial colorants in there. And just one being blue 4, they're talking about asthma, a lot of hyperactivity with red 40. That's something that other parents have found that, maybe when their child has something with red 40 in it, they got hyperactive, and then they were able to pinpoint it. But really, I'm an advocate for looking for products that don't have, the artificial sweeteners, the artificial colorants. And Fruit Loops did try to come out with a brand over in Europe because they banned most of these dyes they do in Europe. So they came out with a brand without it, and they couldn't get the formula down, the taste, and nobody bought it, and it failed. And now it seems that they're kind of fighting to change the product here. And I think until enough people quit buying it, they'll be forced to change. Just more information talking about the different colorants and the dyes. You can see here, even these candies have some of those same colorants that could be, suspect to different issues, allergies, asthma, ADHD, cancers, things like that. So, unfortunately, I'm always an advocate, Halloween, maybe we could pass out healthier options to the kids. Looking at the DARK Act is something that was signed in 2016, President Obama. And unfortunately, I think he was persuaded by a lot of these companies. So I shared a little bit about Fruit Loops, and you can see Kellogg's. So these are the list of companies that lobbied $143+ million to get President Obama at the time to sign the DARK Act, which is to deny Americans the right to know act of what's in our food and what they're doing to our food. Personally, I want to know what's in my food so I can make that choice, whether or not I want to consume it or not, or even have my kids consume it. And I think most people would like that choice to know. But you can see all these different companies, Coca-Cola, Monsanto, Kellogg's, General Mills makes a lot of cereals. They didn't want people knowing because then it's going to cost them. But to me, I wish they would have taken that $143 million and put it into cleaner, healthier options for, our kids and for us. So that's why I share Juice Plus. And it's one of the reasons really why I even decided to take it or even recommend it to kids or my kids, is that it's no artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors or dye, no hydrogenated oils, no safety seal, no warning label. So it's organically grown fruits and vegetables put into a gummy form, and it's got an NSS certification that a third-person party company verifies all these facts. It's been around for 25 years. So it's one of the things I recommend. You can see all the research journals that it's been in. They've done now over 25 years. It's been around, and there's over 40 different clinical research studies done on Juice Plus. So if you'd like to see that, I can send you a link. And healthy starch program that they have. So let's say an adult It could be a grandparent, could be an uncle, could be a, an older sibling. Anybody over 18 that decides to order the adult portion of the capsules or the gummies, they can sponsor a child to get their product for free. And as you can see, all the health changes that these kids have noticed. So not going to the doctor as much, not missing school as frequently, noticing positive changes, drinking more water, being more aware of their health, are all things that these kids are noticing. So positive stuff, over 1.5 million kids, and all they got to do is report, exactly what they noticed, what the parents have noticed, and share it with other people. So a little bit about me, BS in biology. I was pre-med, went on to do other things, and then got certified in 2015 after I was challenged with some health issues. I decided that I was making some changes, came across the testing that I share with the kids, and then saw my positive results and decided that I wanted to help kids and adults, really, but mostly kids, really start to learn better habits with their lifestyle and their eating. And so far, the most of the kids and the adults, they have seen great results with whether or not they've had the testing, or they just tried the Shred 10, or they've just done the Juice Plus product. So you're going to get some kind of positive benefit by making, some kind of change. So looking at my hair results and why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing is 2013, found I was low potassium. I also found some heavy metals popped up in my hair results. And then after trying the Juice Plus products for 4 months, I was retested, and you can see clean, got rid of those heavy metals, and my potassium levels came up into this white area, acceptable range. So, and my nutritional balances became more balanced. So here's just contact information. If you'd like more info, you can go to this link right here and check out the website. You can look and tap on the sample reports, and it'll blow it up and show you all the different foods that it checks for. You can click on the hair testing, and it'll show all the charts that it'll check, and the mineral balances, and kind of go over things. And then of course you can always watch these episodes at www.watchwctv.com. And then you can just look up Stand Up for All Kids episodes, and I'll be sharing different health topics pretty much almost every month. So, May is definitely a trigger for a lot of kids. You got all the leaves and the pollen out there, and everything's blooming. And, it's a highly respiratory allergy asthma month. And there's a lot of things you can do. But the first things I say is, consider doing the food sensitivity test. You can order it right on the website, www.naturalistichealthoptions.com. You can order that test. It'll get shipped to the house. You can do it, and then get the results and see what you find, see if it makes sense, make a few changes in the diet. I can help with options, and then maybe do the hair test and see what you find. And there's lots of things you can do, natural oils. There's lots of natural remedies that I can share just to help with breathing. So hope this information helped everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop. And next month, I'll have a new topic. Not sure what I'm going to share yet. There's so many health topics out there, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, sharing information about asthma. Thanks for joining. Take care. Stay healthy.